$3,940 a month. That's the ceiling the number one operator reaches with the setup behind this garage door. Not from software, not from trading, from something so ordinary, so quiet, that you could stand on this sidewalk every day for a year and never suspect it. And before you see it, you should know something about this street. Someone here already called the city about this garage. A formal complaint, the kind that usually ends with a citation taped to a door and a hobby shut down by Friday. An inspector came out, knocked, was invited in, looked around for 11 minutes, and drove away without writing a single word. Now, before we go one step further, the honesty part, because this channel doesn't do dream math. That number is revenue, not profit. It's an up-to-ceiling reached by an established operator, not a starting point. And later in this video, I'll put every line of it on screen, the income and the costs, so you can judge it for yourself against your own garage, your own city, your own tolerance for work. But the reason that inspector drove away empty-handed, that's the strangest part of this entire story. It comes down to one sentence buried in most American city codes. A sentence almost nobody ever reads, including the neighbor who filed the complaint. Here's what's coming in the next 19 minutes. You'll see exactly what's living inside this garage and why it's one of the quietest animals a person can legally keep in a residential neighborhood. You'll see the full startup list, down to the exact cages and the exact prices, because vague equipment talk is how people get sold fantasies. You'll see two completely different versions of this business, a floor version you could realistically build in a year, and the premium version behind that $3,940 ceiling. And I'll be blunt about which one you'd actually reach first and how long it takes. You'll also see the two things that kill this business because they kill it fast, and one of them costs less than a tank of gas to prevent. And near the end, I'll show you the code language, the actual sentence that made that inspector leave. Why nearly everyone assumes this operation is illegal, why in some cities it genuinely is, and why in most of them it isn't. I'm saving that sentence for the end deliberately. It only makes sense once you've seen the system working, the money moving, and the neighbors noticing nothing. Let's open the door. Rabbits. A 12-doe breeding colony stacked 3 tiers high along a single wall of a standard 2-car garage. And here's the first surprise. The entire operation uses less than a third of the floor space. The car still parks inside. That detail matters more than it sounds, and it comes back in the legal section, so remember it. From the street, and even from the driveway, this is still a garage that does garage things. The racks are the backbone of everything. These are Bass Equipment 30 by 36 wire cages, about $45 each, stacked in welded frames with slide-out dropping pans under every single tier. 14 cages total, 12 for working does, 2 for bucks, kept on the far end because bucks housed next to does stress everyone, including the bucks. Water runs through a gravity drip line fed from a 5-gallon bucket mounted above the top tier. 1 bucket fill instead of 14 bottle refills, twice a day, every day. That one plumbing decision saves this operator around 4 hours a week, and in a business this small, 4 hours a week is the difference between a system and a second job. The daily routine in full. Feed scoop down the line, water bucket check. 30 seconds of looking at each animal, eyes, ears, droppings, and pans scraped into a bin you'll learn to love in a few minutes, because that bin is a revenue stream. And here's the detail that matters for everything that comes later in this video. Listen, that's a full colony mid-morning. Rabbits are functionally silent. No crowing at dawn, no clucking, no barking, no smell drifting over the fence when the pans are managed. From the sidewalk, this garage sounds exactly like an empty garage, and that silence is half the reason the complaint against this place went nowhere. The other half is legal, and that's where everyone, including that neighbor, gets this wrong. Say the words, "I keep rabbits in my garage" in any neighborhood Facebook group, and watch the comment section split into 3 camps within an hour. Camp 1 says it's cruel to keep them indoors. It isn't. Indoor rabbitries are standard practice among serious breeders, and in most climates they're safer than outdoor hutches, because the #1 killer of backyard rabbits isn't confinement, it's heat, and we're covering heat honestly later, because it's the real gatekeeper of this business. Camp 2 says it smells. A neglected rabbitry absolutely does. A managed one doesn't. The dropping pans get scraped every day or two, the waste is dry compared to almost any other animal, and the operator you're looking at turns that waste into $540 a month, which we'll get to. Nothing gets managed more reliably than a mess that pays you. And Camp 3, there's always a Camp 3, says the magic word, livestock. You can't keep livestock in a residential neighborhood. That word is why this entire operation looks illegal. Livestock triggers a picture in people's heads: zoning officers, agricultural land, permits, inspections, farms. And here's the uncomfortable truth this channel owes you. In some cities, Camp 3 is right. There are municipalities where this exact setup would be shut down within a month, and pretending otherwise is how other channels get their viewers fined. So here's what this video will not do. It will not tell you this is legal where you live, because I can't know that, and nobody on the internet can. What it will do is give you the two separate questions that decide it, two different checks run by two different city offices with two different code books. People get burned by asking only one of them and assuming the answer covers both. The first check we can do right now in the next 2 minutes. The second check is the sentence that saved this garage, and that one I'm holding until you've seen the money, because the money is what makes the phone call worth making. Check number 1. How does your city classify the animal itself? Rabbits sit in a genuine gray zone that almost no other income animal enjoys, and it's worth understanding why. Chickens are poultry, named, defined, and regulated as poultry nearly everywhere, with coop distance rules and rooster bans written specifically for them. Goats are livestock, full stop, in essentially every code ever written. Bees have their own ordinances. But rabbits, a large share of American municipal codes classify rabbits as household pets, the same legal category as cats, usually with a count limit per household. That limit commonly falls somewhere between 4 and roughly a dozen adult animals, depending on the city. And here's the part that matters. Kits under weaning age typically don't count against it, which is the quiet reason a breeding operation can exist inside a pet classification at all. Under a pet classification, keeping a small colony isn't an agricultural activity in the eyes of the code. Over the count limit, or in a city that explicitly lists rabbits as livestock, and some do, you're in permit territory, and you need to know which world you're in before a single cage gets ordered. If you do need a permit, usually called a small animal permit, an animal fancier's license, or a livestock exception, budget 2 to 8 weeks for the application in most cities, sometimes with a one-time site inspection and a fee in the range of $25 to $100. It's paperwork, not a wall. But it's paperwork you file before you buy animals, not after a complaint lands, because retroactive forgiveness is not a thing code enforcement is famous for. One phone call to your city's code enforcement or animal control office answers check number 1 in 10 minutes. Ask exactly this, word for word. How are rabbits classified in the municipal code, and what is the count limit for a residential lot? Write down the answer, the name of the person, and the code section they cite. That code section number becomes your shield later. That's half the puzzle. The second half, the zoning half, is the part that fooled the neighbor who filed that complaint. It's coming. First, the money. The engine of this business is the breeding calendar, so let's build it from one animal up. A healthy doe kindles or gives birth about 31 days after breeding. Litters average 4 to 6 kits in the premium pet breeds, 6 to 9 in the meat breeds. Kits wean around 6 weeks and they're sellable between 8 and 12 weeks. A doe gets rest between litters because running does back-to-back year-round, burns them out in 18 months. And burned out breeding stock is money walking backwards. So a sustainable pace is 4 to 5 litters per doe per year, not the 8 that's biologically possible and ethically indefensible. Now stagger 12 does across that calendar, never breeding all of them at once, always 2 or 3 kindling in any given month, and a mature operation weans roughly 25 to 30 sellable kits a month, every month like a conveyor. That stagger also protects you. If one litter fails, and litters do fail, you lose a month's fraction, not a season. Here's where it becomes two completely different businesses wearing the same cages. Track 1, the homestead track. Meat breeds, New Zealanders, Californians. Big litters, fast growth, sold live at 8 to 12 weeks to homesteaders and to families raising their own meat. Typically $25 to $35 an animal. It's steady, it's unglamorous, and the buyers reorder. Realistic revenue once your rotation matures, near the end of year 1, $800 to $1,200 a month. That's the floor of this business, and for a lot of garages, that floor is the whole point. Track 2, the premium track. Holland Lops, Mini Rex, Netherland Dwarfs. These are pet and show breeds, sold with pedigrees, and a pedigree is nothing mystical. It's 3 generations of recorded ancestry on a piece of paper, but that piece of paper moves the price from a farm price to a breeder price. These animals routinely sell between $75 and $150 each to families, to 4-H kids, and to other breeders. The exact number depends entirely on your area and your reputation. And reputation is measured in years, not months, which is precisely why the ceiling belongs to year 2 and beyond. The ceiling math on screen, line by line, so nobody has to trust my voice. 28 premium kits a month at an average of $110, $3,080. The manure, dried, bagged, sold to gardeners, and yes, we're doing a whole minute on this. 45 bags at $12, $540, plus the occasional proven breeding pair sold to someone starting their own rabbitry. Call it 2 pairs a month at $160, $320. Total $3,940 a month. Revenue. The word matters. And let me flag this as clearly as I can. That ceiling reflects an established operator, a realistic profile built from how this market actually prices, but an illustrative composite, not one specific person I interviewed, running premium breeds in year 2 or later, with a wait list and a name buyers recognize. Nobody hits that number in month 6, and anyone promising you otherwise is selling a course, not a rabbit. Now the manure minute, because it's the most overlooked line in that stack. Rabbit manure is the only common livestock manure that's cold. It goes straight onto a garden without composting, without burning plants. Gardeners know this. That's why dried, bagged rabbit manure sells on Marketplace at prices horse owners, drowning in the stuff they can't give away, do not believe. Your waistline becomes a product line the day you list your first bag. Costs, because revenue is not profit, and this channel keeps saying it until it's annoying. Feed for a 12-doe colony with kits on the ground runs roughly $150 to $250 a month, mostly pellets and hay. Startup all in 14 cages at $45 each, the welded frames, the watering line, 2 fans, nest boxes, a small scale, and your first breeding stock. Plan on $1,800 to $2,600, including the tooling every startup budget on the internet conveniently forgets. Bedding and hay, cheap or free, depending on your area. Some feed stores hand over broken bales, some charge, and you won't know until you ask. Difficulty rating, 6 out of 10. Higher than worms, these are vertebrates with vet needs and emotions attached. Lower than hatching quail. The skills that gate you, spotting illness a day early instead of a day late, managing the rotation calendar without burning out, and making cull decisions, which are real and emotional. And if you already know you can't make them, this is not your system, and that's a fine thing to know about yourself for free. The honest ramp, month by month. Months 1 through 3, you're buying stock, quarantining it, and earning 0. Months 4 through 8. First litters hit sellable age, maybe $200 to $400 a month while you find buyers. The floor numbers, $800 to $1,200, arrive near the end of year 1 for a careful operator. The ceiling is a year 2 plus story that requires the premium track, pedigreed stock, and buyers who already know your name. Every month of that timeline is doing necessary work. There is no shortcut in it, and I'd rather lose you here than lie to you here. where the money actually changes hands by name and marked local or mail order, because those are different businesses. Local only, where 90% of this happens. Facebook groups, search your state name plus rabbits for sale, and you'll find the real market, active daily, prices visible. Craigslist Farm and Garden, still alive for meat breeds. Local 4-H clubs and county fair networks, and understand what 4-H really is for you. Hundreds of kids in your county need a project animal every single year. Their parents need a reputable breeder, and the fair circuit is where your rabbitry's name gets made for free. And homesteader swap meets, where meat breed buyers walk around with cash. Mail order and shipping capable, pedigreed breeding stock can genuinely ship. Airline cargo between breeders is an established practice, but it's paperwork heavy, weather restricted, and stressful for everyone, including the rabbit. So treat it as a year 2 expansion channel, not the plan. The manure is local only in practice, bagged and sold to gardeners on Marketplace, because shipping fertilizer that sells for $12 a bag makes the math die instantly. Registry side, the American Rabbit Breeders Association, ARBA. Their breeder directory is where premium track buyers go to verify you're real. And a listing there, plus showing even twice a year, is the difference between Guy with Rabbits on Facebook and Rabbitry, which is the difference between $40 and $140. And here's the proof, this isn't theory. A sold listing, an actual completed sale, price visible from a group like the ones I just named. That's a real buyer who really paid. Now do what I ask you to do in every one of these videos and what almost nobody does. Before you spend $1 on cages, find 2 of these buyers in your area and call them. Ask 3 questions. What do you buy? What do you pay? And what can you never find enough of? 2 phone calls, 20 minutes. If the answers are enthusiastic and specific, you have a market. If the answers are vague, your area's demand is vague, and you just saved yourself $2,000 and a garage full of inventory. That phone call is the cheapest market research in business. Now the beat that decides whether your garage can even do this. Not the law, not the market, heat. Here's the asymmetry almost nobody expects. Rabbits handle cold brilliantly. A dry, draft-free garage sitting at 40 degrees in January is genuinely comfortable for an animal wearing a fur coat. Breeders in Minnesota run garage rabbitries all winter with nothing but a windbreak. Cold is not your enemy. Heat is the killer. Sustained temperatures above roughly 85 degrees Fahrenheit cause heat stress. Pregnant does are the first to die, and a bad July afternoon can undo a year of breeding work in 3 hours. So the honest math by region. An uninsulated garage in Phoenix or Houston in July is a death trap. Interior temperatures can run 20 degrees above the street, and cooling an uninsulated metal box can cost more than the rabbits earn, which makes this business a bad fit for those garages. Full stop, unless you're budgeting real money. Realistic mitigation in moderate climates. Insulating the garage door, about $200 in panel kits, a 1 Saturday job that drops peak interior temps meaningfully. 2 circulation fans, $40, and the ancient free trick, 2-liter bottles of ice rotated into cages on the worst days. Rabbits lie against them, and it works. In genuinely hot regions, the choice is a mini split, call it 1,200 to 2,000 installed, or a summer breeding pause, which cuts your annual revenue by 1/4 to 1/3. Whichever you choose, that number belongs in your math on day 1, not as a surprise in August standing over a cage you'll never forget. What kills this business? 2 things, and they're both preventable, which somehow makes the stories worse. Killer number 1, disease. 1 respiratory outbreak, Pastorella is the name to learn. Snuffles is what breeders call it, and it's incurable and contagious, can move through a stacked rack in days. And there's a newer, meaner threat, RHDV2, a hemorrhagic virus that has wiped out entire rabbitries coast to coast with almost no warning symptoms. A vaccine exists, given annually, and in regions with known outbreaks, it is not optional. It's the cost of doing business. The protocol that protects you costs almost nothing. Every new animal quarantines in a separate corner of the garage, separate airspace if possible, for 30 days. No exceptions. Not for the beautiful doe from the famous breeder. Not for anyone. One $40 purchase brought in without quarantine can erase 2 years of work in a week. Breeders don't learn this rule from videos. They learn it from an empty rack. Learn it from the video. Killer number 2, the biggest mistake, and it's not biological, it's arithmetic, scaling before selling. People watch the breeding math, fall in love with the conveyor, expand to 12 does by month 2, and then discover their county absorbs 8 rabbits a month, not 30. Now they're feeding unsold inventory that eats $200 of pellets monthly, while prices race to the bottom. The sequence that works is boring. Start with 3 does. Sell out completely, twice, then add does to match the demand you proved, buyers first, cages second, always. Keep records from day 1, a $10 binder with breeding dates, litter sizes, weights, and buyers' names. In year 2, that binder is what lets you charge pedigree prices because it is the pedigree. And the vacation truth, because living animals don't pause. This is 30 to 45 minutes a day, every single day, including Christmas morning, including the flu. A weekend away means a trained neighbor or a paid sitter who knows what a sick rabbit looks like. If a daily, unskippable obligation is a deal breaker for your life right now, choose a system that pauses. This one doesn't, and it never will. If you're the kind of person who wants the real math instead of the dream math, that's this entire channel. Quiet income systems, honest numbers, twice a week. Subscribe now, because what's next is the sentence I promised you in the first minute, the one that sent an inspector home empty-handed, and it's the part everyone in that Facebook comment section gets wrong. So, the inspector. The complaint, as filed, said the owner was, quote, running a farm in a residential garage, which sounds damning. The inspector came, counted animals, checked the property, and left without a citation. Not because he missed something, because of check number 2, zoning. And zoning is a completely different question from the one we answered earlier. Check 1, classification asks, what is this animal? Check 2, zoning asks, what is this land allowed to do? Different offices, different code books, different phone numbers. And residential zoning codes in most American cities contain some version of one specific sentence. The sentence this whole video has been walking toward. The keeping of household pets, not exceeding a set number of animals, is a permitted accessory use in residential districts. Accessory use, 3 words doing all the work. Follow the chain. If your city classifies rabbits as household pets, that was check 1, and your adult count sits under the limit, then keeping them isn't a farm in the code's eyes at all. It's an accessory use of a home, the same legal category as a dog run, a tree house, or a vegetable bed. The land is doing what residential land is permitted to do. So the inspector counted adult animals against the pet limit. Under. He looked for the things that would flip it into a business use of the property. Commercial signage? None. Customer traffic lining the street? None. Sales happen at pickup points and markets. On-site slaughter? None. And that one matters because processing is where many codes draw a hard line. He found a quiet garage, legally housing pets with a car parked inside. Nothing to cite. 11 minutes and gone. And that is exactly why the title of this video has quotation marks around the word illegal. It looks illegal because of the word livestock. Whether it is legal depends on those 2 checks, and in the typical residential codes of most states, a small, quiet, under-the-limit colony passes both. But not everywhere, so hear the exceptions plainly. Some cities explicitly list rabbits as livestock, and there the answer is a permit or a no. An HOA can prohibit what the city permits, private covenants stack on top of public code, and an HOA letter has teeth. And selling from your home may require a home occupation permit, usually a simple form and a small fee, 1 to 4 weeks, which is cheap insurance against the second complaint. Your homework, exactly 10 more minutes. Call planning or zoning, not the office, from check 1, and ask, is keeping this number of rabbits a permitted accessory use on a residentially zoned lot? And does selling their offspring require a home occupation permit? 2 calls total, 2 answers written down with code sections. Do that and you will know more about your own street than the neighbor who files complaints, and you'll have the paper to prove it on the day someone does. So here's where I leave it, honestly. This is a floor, not a fortune. The floor, $800 to $1,200 a month in revenue before feed and costs, is reachable in year 1 by a careful person with 3 does, 2 phone calls to buyers and 2 phone calls to the city. The ceiling, $39.40, is real and it belongs to operators who treated year 1 as an apprenticeship and kept the binder. Revenue is not profit. The costs you saw come out of every number I said today. The garage on this street passed both checks before a single cage went up. That's the whole trick. It was never a loophole. It was homework. Next video you decide right now in the comments. The maggot bin that eats garbage and sells as premium animal feed, the ugliest money in this entire space, or the expansion blueprint for the quail garage. One word, maggots or quail. The comments pick the next door we open.